What's up? Be the change hotline. I can't get to the phone right now. Leave a message after the beep.
You're now listening to the Nameless podcast, hosted by two sisters, Alisia and Ciarra. Join us as we have intimate conversations with some of our closest friends about real-world struggles, lessons, and situations.
Each episode will leave you thinking that was quite the experience.
Talk to you soon.
Welcome back to the Nameless podcast. This is Alisia.
And this is Ciarra.
And we are here with episode 6 of season 3. How you feeling? How you doing?
I'm breathing, I'm breathing.
Well, that's good to hear. So Ciarra is on the phone with us today. Little technical difficulties going on, but we still gonna get this episode done because of scheduling problems. But first and foremost, do you want to shout out the socials real quick? Sorry, I can't talk right now.
Yeah, I got you. You guys can follow us on Instagram at nameless_podcast_. You can reach us on Facebook at official Nameless Podcast.
All right now, and I think we are still, like I said last episode, waiting for our 100th follower on Instagram, so go ahead and follow us on Instagram. We are giving away something. I don't know what it is yet. Hoodie, t-shirt, something like that.
Probably maybe a hoodie, t-shirt, maybe some beanie. I don't know. We'll figure out something. We've got to get the 100 though to determine what we're giving out,
Exactly. And today's episode will be posted on our YouTube, so you can go ahead and go over and follow our YouTube. What is it? The Nameless Podcast, Ciarra, on YouTube?
Yes, it's the Nameless Podcast. Our logo is our picture, so if you know our logo, you'll be able to know that that's our page.
All right, bet. So you can go ahead and listen to today's episode over there as well. So let's get into it. So today's episode, we do have somebody else on the line with us, and you can go ahead and introduce yourself right now if you'd like.
How y'all doing? My name is Biondi.
Thank you for being on with us.
Biondi Rolle for everybody who's looking at it and trying to figure out the spelling.
Wait, did I spell your last name wrong?
No.
Oh.
Some people say Rolle or Rolle, but it's just simply roll the E silent.
Got you.
All
right, well, thanks for being
let
on
them
with
know what
us.
we're talking about, Lisa.
Oh, absolutely. So we will be discussing Biondi's story. Last season we did talk about his story in our criminal justice episode, I believe. I forget what episode number it was.
I think it was honestly episode 2, maybe.
Yeah, it was really early in our season last season. But yeah, we talked about Biondi's story. He is currently incarcerated in Texas. So actually, I don't want to, tell your story. I'd rather you do that, Biondi. But yeah, today's episode, we're just going to be, talking with him firsthand, hearing about his life growing up and what led to him being currently incarcerated. So I guess the first question is, what was your life like when you were growing up in Texas?
I'm originally from Alabama. I had a pretty good childhood. My mom was married when they had me, but, went through the single parent situation for a little while. But I had a strong mother, strong grandmother, good support system, so it wasn't just all hard times or nothing like that. I had a pretty good productive childhood coming up. Teenage years, sports pretty much dominated my life, so I was, all about athletics. And, I'm just a typical kid growing up in the South.
What was it like growing up in Alabama? Was it different?
My particular part is Phoenix City itself is country, but it's across the river from Columbus, Georgia. So Columbus is like the second largest city in Georgia. So we had, pretty much the best of both worlds. So, I lived in the hood, but, the hood took care of itself, so to speak. So I seen things I wasn't supposed to see, but, kids were still okay to go outside and play, and you didn't really have to worry about it. But then when we wanted the big city life, or not so-called big city, but, a little bit more fast-paced, we go to Columbus and, do what we do at the mall or whatever, hang out, concerts.
Okay.
Well, how was your...
So now...
Oh, sorry. Go
Go ahead, Alicia.
Okay. How was your relationship with your parents? You know, did you grow up with your mom and dad in the house? Was your, I think you mentioned your grandma was a big part of your life. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how those relationships were?
Yeah, my mom raised me. She ended up getting married when I was about in 5th or 6th grade, so I did have a male in the home. So I had, a male figure. Pretty cool guy. Pretty much took care of the house like a man's supposed to. I had no complaints there. Growing up and being a man and looking back on it. But, my grandmother was a major figure. That was the head honcho. So if I needed a second opinion on a punishment, I'm calling grandma. But I also had, throughout sports, I had coaches that would, make sure I get to practice on time. They'll come pick me up from the house. So in some situations where, hey, I can't pay for these basketball tournaments or these basketball shoes, and they was like, look, you just make sure you be there.
So you mentioned you played sports. What sports did you play other than basketball, which you just mentioned?
Yes, basketball and football.
Mm-hmm. Right. What was your favorite?
Probably basketball at first because I really was scared to tackle until I got to probably junior high school. And then once I got to junior high school and started getting some weight on me, I preferred football because it was like more physical.
Okay.
It seems like your childhood was like, I guess, quote unquote, like stereotypical childhood of a child, like you were playing sports, you had, the support of your family members and all of that. And I guess my main thing is, let's get into what actually led up to, you being currently incarcerated, because I think that's kind of a main question, I want to hear from you,
Well, I was married, so I ended up moving to Houston with my ex-wife because that's where she's originally from. So I was doing the family thing out there, working, take care of the home, simple stuff. So, over time we met our downstairs neighbors or whatnot. So we was all right for a little while, and then things kind of started getting rocky. So at the time I was working, and, we didn't really have problems financially, but one specific time, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but my lights get cut off. But I had just paid the bill, so we were trying to figure out what's going on. So when we called the phone company, they tell us, they pretty much made a mistake. And come to find out, they really was trying to cut the downstairs neighbor's lights out. So while my lights was off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, my downstairs neighbor, who we were cordial with, they knew about it. So they was like, man, let me run a extension cord up to your apartment and y'all can have some light or whatever. So I was like, cool. And then that Monday morning, they cut the lights back on, no problem. So after that, my neighbors' lights, they get cut off. So their lights are off for like a week. So being a good neighbor, I did the same thing for them. I extended that service to them. I told them they can run the extension cord from my apartment to theirs if they needed to plug up anything. So once they finally were able to get the money to get their lights cut back on, I'm thinking everything is cool. So a few weeks later, the victim's boyfriend, he comes to me talking about I owed him like $200 or something. So I tried to talk to him, had a conversation with him like a man, explain everything.
Why would he say you owed him $200 though? Because it seemed like it was like a reciprocal thing. Like he helped you out and then you helped him out. Now he's like, you owe me money? That's a little...
Oh, you owe me money. Right. I feel like that should have been said in the beginning,
Right. So, I was feeling the same way, but the more I thought about it, I was like, either he's trying to squeeze me for some money or whatever the case may be. He should have just asked, can I borrow $200? And we probably could have went from there. But, I felt like he was basically trying to extort me. But so I just told him, man, I'm not giving you $200 because I extended the same service you did to me, and I did it for a week. So if anybody owes some money, it was you. But I don't want no money. You know what I'm saying? Because that wasn't running my bill up. Having one plug going to your house.
Right. Wait, how long ago was this? What year was this?
All of this happened. Well, all these circumstances started happening in like late 2007.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
Yeah. I've been gone almost 16. It'll be 16 years. February 3rd, 2024. It'll be 16 years.
Wow. That's crazy.
So after he came and asked you for that $200, I bet you were just like, yo, man, all right. Did you pay it to him? Like, what happened after that then?
No, I explained it to him as best I could. Basically, he didn't have no understanding. He just wanted $200, or he just wanted some money for whatever reason. So once I said what I said, I left it at that. So and prior to all of this, we kind of stopped speaking because I seen him do some things with his children that I didn't approve of. So, I guess they kind of took that as, a slight to them or whatever. But, I don't believe in, handling kids the wrong way. So I just distanced myself. So after all that, his tension became a little thick. So he started having, I guess his friends or whatever, whoever they were, like a group of dudes hanging out every day that didn't normally hang out over there. They sitting on the stairs, making hostile comments to me, because I had to go up just one set of stairs to get to my apartment.
Right.
So I'm babysitting during the day because my ex-wife used to work, and then when she come home, we would switch routines and I would go to work. So, it got to the point to where I didn't feel that it was safe for this child that I was keeping during the day. So my ex-wife made a complaint to the people at the apartment. And then it got to the point where I had to basically, when I'm getting out the car, I got a baby in one hand and then I got a pistol in the other just to make sure nothing happened between the car and my apartment.
Right. Can we touch on that real quick though? Texas is an open carry state, right? You don't have to have a permit for any of that, right?
Well, back then you had to have a permit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, back then you had to have a permit. I bought my gun from a gun store, but at the time I was in the process of trying to get a permit.
Right, but
so if you don't have a permit, you can still carry your gun. You just can't, I can't walk around in Walmart with it, or, just basically that's what they call a concealed weapon, walking around with it, in a holster that nobody can see. But if I have it traveling in the car, I have to put it in the trunk.
Yeah, out of reach, basically.
Yeah.
Well, damn, I
think that's kind of how PA is. What happened?
I can only imagine though, what they must have been harassing you with, if that is the main thing you thought to
Yeah, that was gonna be my question.
Yeah.
And what was that?
What were they even harassing you with at that point? Because like you said before, you reciprocated the favor that was reciprocated to you. So what was needed for the harassment? I get it, the $200, but it's what could they possibly be harassing you for when you were just trying to take care of your family,
Right. I mean, I tried to confront him again. The second time I confronted, it was a little bit more aggressive because I just didn't I don't appreciate being bullied. I didn't grow up like that. And, I'm going to stand up for myself and I'm going to stand up for my family. So, I guess he was a part of whatever gang. I didn't know what it was until I actually came to prison and then figured out what it was. Because he made a statement I'm Congo and this, that. So, Houston, I was well, I don't know what that is, but y'all ain't gonna continue bothering me or making statements to me and looking at me sideways. And, when I come up the stairs, they don't want to move. So, I guess they was trying to intimidate me or whatnot. So, I don't know.
That must have been tough though. Like you just coming home from work and going about your everyday life, and you got that going on
Right.
because $200. But so what happened after that then? How long did that go on where you were constantly being like harassed and stuff coming home?
That went on for like the back and forth went on to like a month, probably about 3 or 4 months. And then one day, I took my ex-wife to work, and when I came back, he was sitting on his patio. So, he said something to me, so I was like, man, you ain't talking about nothing. So when I went on up to my apartment, I went in. By the time I made it to my back bedroom, I hear a loud bang. So when I come back to my door, nobody's there. So I just closed the door. So when I went to go pick her up that evening after work, when I opened my door again to lock it from the outside, I guess because when I was inside the house looking at the door, I couldn't see it, but when I was actually standing outside, I could see a footprint. And then when I looked at the side of the door, my door was split, so I put it together like he just kicked my door. So, I told my ex-wife about it. So when we come back to the apartment, we had a friend, she was walking her dog. So when we was walking to my apartment, him and his girlfriend sitting on the patio. So, the ladies start having words. So I don't argue with females. That ain't mine. So, they had words or whatever. So it got to the point to where it was so heated, he jumped over the patio like he was about to hit my wife. So I'm like, I had to stand in. So my friend, she the one diffused it. So, it just kept building and building. So not long after that, my coworkers, they knew what was going on because I had to, I was late for work trying to get that situation taken care of about my door. So they was inquiring about it like, man, what's up with dude? You see it tripping? And, I was like, yeah. So, fast forward to the night of the incident, I was at my coworker's house and they was asking about it again. So I was like, so tired of dude with the back and forth. I got Alisia there. So he was like, why? You think he'll fight? So, I was like, I don't know. Matter of fact, I need to go see. At that age, that wasn't probably the smartest thing to do. Looking back on it. But,
You wanted to like fight him is basically what you said. You're like, yo, let's settle it. Let's settle it in the streets real quick. I feel like that's kind of like a valid thing though.
I mean, it is though, because like he was harassing you, you called him out. Like, if you want to fight, let's fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where I'm from, we could do it well back then anyway. If I feel like today, if people would do more fighting and less shooting, we'll halfway be all right.
Yeah, times have changed for real on that part.
So, we get jump in the car, go over there. So I end up kicking his door in. But when I kicked the door, I guess something was behind it because he had already kicked in his own door in the previous incident. And then, but when the door cracked open, it was pitch black. There was no commotion in the house. And so me, I'm thinking he's, nobody's there or he ducked off waiting to shoot one of us. You know what I mean? So my co-defendant, Corey, it was 3 of us, actually 4 of us on the case. It was a guy sitting in the car. It was 3 of us that actually went to the apartment, Aaron and Corey. So Corey ended up just pushing the door on open and going into the apartment. Well, it's pitch black, and he disappeared into the darkness once he went to the back. So me and Aaron are standing at the door. I'm telling him, let's go. And next thing you know, we hear 2 shots ring out. So me and Aaron, we just take off running. I don't know who was shot at the time. I didn't know if Corey got shot or what. So when I jump in the car and I turn the corner and spin the block, I end up seeing Corey running through the apartment. He jumped the fence, get in the car, we leave. So there's not really nothing said. In my head, I'm like, either he shot the dude or, he either shot and missed. I don't know if anybody even been hit yet. But once I take them back to their apartment, I end up calling my ex-wife, and that's when I find out who got shot. And she was like, Yvonne just got shot. And I end up telling Corey, I was like, you shot the girl. He looked at me and I was like, man, I think you killed her.
Wow.
So when I leave there, go to a payphone, call my wife again. Then I came on to the apartment. When I get there, I run up the stairs and asked my wife, was she okay or whatnot? And she was, telling me what was going on. Then the detectives came. The boyfriend, he was basically like, he had something to do with it, just throwing it out there. But they end up putting me in the back of a police car. I think they put him in the back of a police car.
They put Corey in the back?
No, Corey wasn't even on the scene. They didn't.
His neighbor.
Know about him. The victim's boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, normally at murder scenes or shootings, if they have a suspect, like right after a shooting, normally they'll put your hands in some, like in paper bags or a plastic bag to preserve the gunpowder residue that a lot of people don't know about.
Yep, they instantly have to wrap your hands as soon as any type of scene happens, because if you go to touch something else, you're literally getting rid of the evidence that could possibly be there.
Right. So they never did that to my hands, so I didn't know about that until I read a John Grisham book. Just reading the basic novel, and wrote my lawyer, told him about it, and he rushed up there probably 2 days later and questioned me, because he was like, if they really thought you was the one that did it, they should have bagged your hands too. So I ended up, we went to homicide, and I was in homicide all day, because all this happened at like 2 in the morning, 1:30, 2 in the morning, something like that. So I was, from the time I got in the back of a police car to the time I got to homicide, we got to homicide at like that morning. It was daylight by that time, so it had to be about 7-ish. So I stayed there all day, literally till that night. They questioned me, asking me why, being, the so-called friends, and we as a culture got to get away from the, like, there's a difference in snitching, and then there's a difference in, just messing over somebody's life.
Right.
Because if you did something, hey, you need to take your own case.
Well, can I ask you a quick question about that? Your interview with the police. How was that? Was it like were they hostile with you? Were they like already seemed like made their mind up that you were the one who did it, even though you were a part of like a group, but you never went into the house? Did they already have their minds made up about that?
Well, they did the whole good cop, bad cop thing. One detective was telling me, like, man, we gonna kill you. We're gonna give you the death penalty and all of this. So I'm looking at him like, yeah, I didn't kill nobody. I didn't shoot nobody. I didn't shoot a gun. I didn't kill nobody.
Right, and the only thing that you could possibly be, like, I guess, guilty of is, like, you kicked the door and the door opened. But, like, everything else,
right.
Like, you had no part of anything else. You didn't even go inside. So how?
Yeah, basically everything inside the house, I didn't do. And my trial attorney tried to argue that because what they call transferred intent. So let's say you're standing behind your door when someone kicked your door in. If someone kicked your door in and the door hits you, you fall and hit your head and die, yeah, I could be held responsible for that. But like being held for someone else's actions is like, it should have just been him with a murder case, me with a possibly like burglary case.
I do have a question though, honestly. So we know this happened in Texas. I'm not pulling no racial cards or anything, but were you the only black male involved in this thing that they're accusing you of?
Yeah. My two co-defendants they were my co-workers. They both were white.
And back in that time, it's kind of like things are just changing around then, honestly. Like, that's literally, what, like 7-8 years out of the 1900s? Like, I mean, it happened.
Also,
as far as incarceration, like you basically...
I was going to say, I'm sorry, real quick. What was your neighbor's ethnicity, too?
They were Hispanic.
Gotcha.
They were Mexican.
You can finish what you were saying, though, bro.
sorry about
that. like black people in America, if you get a case for pretty much anything, you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent instead of innocent and proven guilty. And then the majority of, I'm going to say minority people, that goes for blacks, Hispanics, and whoever that's not white. The average person can't afford an attorney. You know, they was trying to charge me $75,000 to $100,000 to represent me on this case. And, you know, that's 5 years worth of working for my mom.
That's a lot of money, honestly.
Yeah. So it's like, if you don't have no money, you know, Clyde said it best, don't go to trial. Because, you know, I had a state appointed attorney, and it's like, how can you defend me when the same person pays you, the judge, and the DA? So I don't know if you're in cahoots with them. So hey, I'm gonna give you him. You know, I got another case. We can work this out. It's like this is literally going on in our justice system, where they're swapping people out. Like my co-defendant, Aaron is out right now, and they went to him with like 25-year offer, and they was like trying to offer me something like 50 or 60 years. Like how can you offer him something way less, but you offer me the exuberant number?
So have you been sentenced for this case?
Yes, I ended up going to trial. But prior to going to trial, Aaron, they ended up locking me, Aaron, and Corey up because before they picked me up, before the detectives picked me up, I had already told Aaron and Corey, like, I'm gonna be the first suspect because me and the dude been into it, and that's just common sense.
So was anything documented with you and the other person that they were claiming this all happened with? Was anything ever, like, with the neighbor, like with the Wi-Fi, was police ever called before this incident?
No, we didn't have any history of the police being called over there for our incidents. He had the police call because he was like abusing his old lady. But as far as us having a confrontation, the police being called, no.
Yeah, so there was nothing documented that there was ever like physical altercations, any like verbal defeats between you guys. So
right,
like that, and that's what kind of confuses me because like how are they instantly just gonna say like you're the one that did it, but there was never any other prior like calls out for anything that ever happened between you guys.
Right. I never had, prior to all this, I didn't have any felonies or anything. So, prior to going to trial, Aaron ended up telling the truth to his lawyer. And his lawyer got with my lawyer, and they both got with the DA. And he literally told him that Corey did this murder Biondi didn't do this murder. He did not kill her. And the DA, his response was like, he didn't really care. He felt that I did it. I had the motive, and I was the one he was going to go to trial.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's based off of, like, thoughts. Like, aren't police supposed to base things off of, like, concrete evidence? Like you said, bag your hands, like, do all that type of stuff. It seems like he already had, like, a biased opinion of you before even going into it, and was like, no, I don't even care. So, like, what were your thoughts about that, though? Because I could only imagine you're sitting there with these detectives and you're telling them, like, I did not go into that apartment. I did not shoot anybody. The only thing that I did was kick the door. And they're sitting there telling you, well, no, we think you did it. We think you did it. Like,
right, they're telling you you're lying at that point.
Right, like, take us through that point, and then also, like, your decision to take it to trial, because I'm sure they, like you said, they brought you a plea deal. That's a risk going to trial. So just take us through those thoughts and those feelings during those two situations and those decisions you had to make.
Well, my decision to going into trial was basically that Aaron knew that I didn't do it. There was no other witnesses besides the victim's boyfriend. And he said when he jumped up, he could see clearly. So when my lawyer, that came out after trial, but I knew that no one else had seen what happened besides us. So Aaron was basically the only witness of what happened and who did what. So my attorney was like, okay, well, I could put in to file a motion for order of trial, he was trying to get Aaron to have the judge to make Aaron go to trial first. Because, I know y'all see on TV shows where somebody's like, I plead the fifth. Okay, so when you plead the fifth, I don't have to say anything to incriminate myself. So if he had testified during my trial, he would have just got up there and said, I plead the fifth 100 times, and he wouldn't have had to answer any questions. Because anything he said in my trial could have been used against him in his. So that's why my lawyer was trying to get the judge to make him go to trial first, because he had pertinent information that could have helped me. But, as in the legal system, it's designed for you to lose.
Yep.
So, the judge, he didn't approve that, so they made me go to trial first anyway. So, that could have been major, within my freedom and, how I was sentenced and what I was convicted of. Yes. And, when you facing a life sentence, I was 21 years old, like 2 months past 21, and my head spinning. So I had, I was always blessed since I've been incarcerated. I've always been blessed to have like older cats, who kind of gravitated towards me because, they see I'm not the so-called average criminal. But I done graduated high school, I attended college, been to the Air Force. So I don't have your normal criminal background. I didn't see this coming.
It seems like it's a wrong place, wrong time type situation. And now you're getting the brunt of the whole thing.
Yeah. But I have to take, as a man, and what a lot of men don't do that are in my position, even though I was wrong about the justice system, I have to still look at myself and say what I could have did differently so I wouldn't have been in a position for the justice system to mess over me.
Right.
So I shouldn't have been there at all. But, you have to be accountable. You got to be accountable for everything you do.
And I commend you for taking the responsibility of that. That's a hard, time, of course, in your life. But for you to still sit here how many years later and be able to say, no, I take accountability and I know, my actions could have been different and that you grew from the situation at that point,
Right. But I just feel like I shouldn't have been sentenced to life without parole.
Absolutely not.
Because, I didn't harm anybody.
And especially if they didn't do that concrete steps that they need to do when it comes to finding any evidence on you. You know, it was just it's accusation at that point. Like, the detectives felt you did it, so they didn't want to do anything different from saying, no, he's the one that did it. We have our suspects. You know, we have who we need.
Right, and most times that's the case. If they have just a little evidence, and they can basically, a trial is basically who can tell the best story.
Yeah,
you know. So, and that's what separates good attorneys from mediocre ones. You know, are you engaging to the jury? You know, we got to deal with a jury who really don't want to be there. They missing work. You know, they impatient. They don't want to be sitting up in no courtroom all day. You know. So, and then, you know, once these incomplete investigations on the state's behalf, that happens all the time. You know, like, they dropped the ball in my situation. They didn't thoroughly investigate my case. The most they did was probably took my DNA. My DNA wasn't in there, you know. So it was like, okay, well, we could spin this story. He got motives to do it. He did it.
Yeah.
It seems like it's like sometimes with police officers, they don't even want to take the time to properly do it themselves. Like, they just want to be like, okay, fine, this looks fine to me, sign it, next, like, you know, stuff like that. And they don't understand that this is literally like people's lives that they're like affecting because of them not wanting to.
Case in point. Go ahead, Alicia.
I was just gonna say, because of them not wanting to actually do their job properly, incorrectly.
Yeah, that leads me to think of, like, when our brother was murdered, you know, like, how much did our sister do for the detectives on their behalf? And they were like, oh, we didn't even know about that. Like, we were giving them information that they should have been able to find, you know? And it's like, it's kind of the same thing. Like, they didn't want to do their job properly, and they just ran with whatever they had.
Yeah, just to get to the next case then. But here we are years later, and Biondi is the main one that is affected out of everybody. So, like, what were your thoughts, though, like, sitting in that courtroom after that trial and the verdict and the jury comes in and it's read? You know, what was going through your mind then?
Like, during the trial, that's probably the most scared I ever been in my life. Like, every day going in, sitting down in front of people you don't know. This is supposed to be a jury of my peers, but none of them look like friends. And I'm sitting across from the defense, the state's prosecutors, and, you know, they talking about me, and I'm not even recognizing who they're talking about, because they're like, he was in the military, he's a trained killer. This is how they're trying to paint me. And I'm like, who is a trained killer? I was an aircraft mechanic. I ain't trained to kill nobody. But these are the tactics they use to get convictions at all costs, because it's political. You know, assistant DAs are trying to become DAs. Assistant DAs are trying to become judges. You know, it's all to further their careers. They don't care about who they convict. That's why Texas leads the country in exoneration. Wrongfully convicted people. Because they will just run you through the system. They don't care about, as long as they get the conviction, look good, hey, I'm going to get the vote.
Okay.
You know, they're sitting in the courtroom talking about Biondi did this murder. He wrapped the gun up in a hoodie and threw it on the side of Westheimer Road. How do you know that? Like, you was in the car. That's nowhere near the truth. But these are the type of things that they allow them to do in the courtroom, to paint me as a murderer. And, you know, it's basically unfair.
So what was your...
So, you know, when someone... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I genuinely, I know this is like the second time asking you, but like, what were your thoughts though? Like, when they read that, like, guilty? Because your charge is what, capital murder?
Yes. Going after that, I went to trial for a week. So at the end of the trial, I go back to the holding cell for the weekend. Well, I went back to my wing for the weekend. They was going to do the deliberation to come back Monday. So my lawyer come talk to me. He was like, you know, I think the judge feel like you didn't do it, but I didn't go to a trial by judge. So what she did was she gave the jury options. So they gave the jury the option of felony murder, capital murder, and burglary. So in my mind, I was like, okay, well, if they sat through this trial and listened to the evidence, they know that I didn't commit this murder. Because even the victim's boyfriend, he said when my lawyer asked him, "Did you see Biondi in your apartment when you heard those shots?" Because he said he got up and he could see clearly. He told them, "No, I did not." They asked him, "How many people did you see?" He said, "I only saw one person." And that was Corey, because me and Aaron was outside the apartment. So, and they still found me guilty. But during that weekend, I had hope because, I prayed. I talked to my grandmother. So, and I had talked to my mom because she was down in Houston for the trial, her and my aunt. And so when I thought about it, I'm an optimist, so I'm not gonna never think negative. So I was like, if they give me the felony murder, I still got action at, getting somewhere between 2 to 20 or something like that. So, that's a whole lot better than automatic life or death. So, and then I was like, if they actually paid attention during the trial, I should just get the burglary. And I asked my lawyer, I was like, if they convict me of the burglary, how much time will I have to do? He was like, you'll go home. You'll go home. So that Monday we go back in there. They talk to the jury. They finally bring me in. And, we stood up. They started reading it out. And they said that, on the count of capital murder, they find me guilty. My hearing must have went out. And I'm looking at the judge. She's saying something, but I can't hear nothing she's saying. So I look back at my mom and my aunt. And my mom, I guess she's like, please don't break down. So, I held it together. But I was torn. And then when they took me out of the courtroom, took me to the holding cell, that's when I literally broke down. Broke all the way down. It's a broken feeling. It's a lonely feeling. And by this time I was just a week before my 24th birthday.
Still so young.
And I'm thinking my life is ruined. It's over with.
Wow. I can only imagine, man. That is you see this type of stuff on TV and stuff like that, but having a conversation with you about this and just trying to picture what you seeing it through your eyes and your words, man, I hurt for you so much, bro.
For real. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the most pain I ever went through emotionally. But like I say, I always been blessed enough to have people around me when I was locked up to no, you can't just let this go. So I ended up coming to prison, and dudes started talking to me no, you can't be getting depressed. You get depressed, you're gonna let them win. So I started getting, I kind of dedicated myself for going to the law library every morning after work. Start learning, and then someone just started helping me understand murder cases and showing me why I shouldn't been convicted. And it just, the passion grew from there. And then I just always kept faith. And then, I ended up being able to get an attorney here recently. So I-Team Legal Solutions, Mr. Fuller and his team, they've been real supportive, and it's the most work I've seen in my situation. Because from 2011 all the way to last year, it was basically a standstill. Because once again, minorities, we don't just have a whole bunch of money sitting around to give a lawyer. Rich people, they have lawyers on retainer. They just pay them just because and just in case something pop off. But, most of us live check to check or semi-check to check. So it was where I'm gonna get this money to, be able to afford an attorney. But, Mr. Fuller and his staff, they were willing to work with us and, let us make payments, even though sometimes it's hard meeting those payments. They understand.
All right.
So where would you say your case is at right now then? You said there's some new developments, and obviously you have this lawyer now. What are they working with right now, and are they digging up more evidence? Are they trying to piece more things together?
Right now, Aaron, he came home earlier this year around March, April. So he made parole, came home, and Mr. Fuller and his staff, they reached out to him prior to him getting out, and he told them that he was willing to help by making, signing a sworn affidavit, of the event that happened, and letting them know that I wasn't the one that committed that murder, and basically I didn't know a murder was going to take place. But he wanted to wait till he actually got all the way out of prison, and I understood it because, we got some trauma, mental trauma to a degree. So he just wanted to make sure he was all the way free before he decided to, help me. Because he was afraid basically they were gonna, if you help him, we're not gonna let you out type of deal. But he's home, so, right now the next step is to go interview him and try to get the affidavit taken care of so they can start putting the appeals together.
Well,
That's good news.
100%. Yeah. Do your lawyers feel confident that they have you guys have a strong chance of getting a new trial after Aaron makes his statement?
Yeah, he feels pretty confident. He said, he read my case and his team has read my case, so they feel like, I told him I really didn't even want to go to trial again because that's too nerve-wracking. I used to have all right hair on my head, and that stress, that's probably half the reason I'm bald now. Oh man, so I was, going to trial is basically rolling the dice. So that's basically putting my life in some strangers' hands again. I don't have the energy for that. Now, if that was the only option, I'd go to trial again, cool. But I told him, if we can get time served or 20 years or 25 years, I'm cool. Because in the state of Texas, I would be up for parole right now. In the state of Texas, with so-called violent crime, you have to do 50% of the time before you come up for parole. I have almost 16 years in right now. So anything from 32 years on down, I'll be up for parole. And, I've been in different programs and working, so I pretty much stay out of trouble, and, I'm showing that I'm trying to be rehabilitated.
So, man, 16 years, man. I can't even wrap my mind around that, bro. The amount of, mental, fortitude you have to have. I so commend you, and, there's just no words for what you've been through, bro. The unjustness, the unfairness, the overall just, what is going on. And I can only imagine how you feel because it's your life and you're living it.
Right.
What do you think, needs to change within the justice system for people that may be going through the similar thing as you?
Don't do crime. You out there, just straight up. If you out there doing something you don't supposed to be doing, stop while you're ahead. Because once you get in trouble, it's hard to get out of it. If you selling dope, I know whatever you going through might be hard at the time. I understand it. I'm from that. So, it looks easy, but there's other careers and fields out there you can go get some money in. Because it's, at the end of the day, you doing the crime ain't worth you throwing your life away. You're away from your kids. You're away from your mom. I can't hug my mom like I want to every day. I can't hug my girlfriend like I want to every day. You know, I can't walk outside, just look up at the moon. I haven't seen the moon in months. You know, just simple things, the simple pleasantries you have, you know, just walking to the refrigerator and looking in and you don't even want nothing. You just want to walk up there and see what's up. Just the small things. No privacy. You got to use the restroom in front of somebody. You know, you got to, it's a lot, man. You got to live with people you don't know, you probably don't get along with. I know people that have died in here. I know guys that have been stabbed. You know, I know guys that have been raped. You know, it's not so easy in here. And these kids coming up listening to this rap music. Stop listening to the rap music. It sounds good. Let's just take it for what it is. Entertainment. Because those guys ain't living that life. 99% of them not living that life. They're not going to tell you about the hardships of being locked up. They're not going to tell you all your friends going to turn their back on you, talk about you. They're not going to tell you that some of your family not even going to mess with you. You know, that pretty girlfriend you got, or, you know, that sexy dude that woman got, or whatever she got going on, hey, they leaving too. And it takes special people to be in your life when you locked up. I have, you know, my mom been here day one. You know, my girl, so my hat's off to her, because it ain't easy loving somebody that's locked up, loving somebody you can't touch.
But I think
I'm nice, I gotta listen. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but I think overall though, the people that are still like standing by your side, like they have to have the same thoughts. Like, we know he didn't do this, so like, why would you not want to support somebody you know did not actually commit the crime that they're, you know, being accused of or convicted of, and all of that, you know? So
most people don't even understand it, because you know somebody, everybody knows somebody that went to jail before. You know, I got an uncle, he go to jail every other Thursday. You know, he gonna do 2 weeks and get out. You know, everybody knows somebody that been to jail, but prison is a whole different monster. You know, prison is, they gone for some years, so you basically forgotten.
Right. It's like an out of sight, out of mind type thing, you know, which is kind of, it's messed up to think about it that way, but that's literally how it is. That's what they want. And, you know, it's also layers to that. It's deeper than that, because it's like in the United States, black people make up about, let's say, 15% of the country. We don't even make up that, but I'm going to give it to 15% of the country. So we live in a country that is only 15% black people. How is it that the prison system throughout the United States is over 50% black and minority?
Yeah, man,
so it's deeper than just, you know, black people ain't committing more crimes than white people.
Right.
But, you know, a lot of people just don't look at it or view it that way.
100%. And yo, Biondi, like this, we gonna have to do a part 2 with you for real, because there's a lot of things that you've been mentioning that, Ciarra, we've covered already, you know, and getting to have another chance to like expand on that even more so. We're definitely gonna need to do that. 100%.
Okay, I'll be down to do that.
But
the knowledge is power.
Say it louder for those in the back. Thank you.
Right.
No, but I didn't want to cut you off or anything like that, but we are getting close to the end of the episode. So like within like 2 minutes, what do you have to say to those who support you? Any message you want to get out there regarding your case, or just anything?
Everybody that's been supporting me, I appreciate you. I love you. You know, hats off to y'all. I know I ain't the easiest person to deal with sometimes. I get impatient, but I appreciate everything you do. And, you know, it's not many outside of that, but, you know, to the listeners, I appreciate y'all for listening. Keep supporting Nameless podcast. These sisters are a blessing in my life. They're like angels, giving me exposure to get my voice out, to let the unheard be heard. And, if anybody want to help contribute to the lawyer fees, I guess you can comment or leave a message with Ciarra and Alisia, and, we'll have the details on that within, I guess, the description.
Oh, yeah, we'll get all that from you, bro. I'm post that for sure.
Okay. So I'm about $14,000 off from paying the attorneys off, so.
Well, we gonna get something working. Yeah, we gonna get something working, bro. But we do appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and all that, and keep your head up.
Definitely doing a part 2.
Definitely doing a part 2. I'm thinking maybe even for the next episode, back-to-back
I'm
episodes.
about to say maybe the next episode, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I really
I
do
definitely appreciate you all.
And we appreciate you too, bro. And keep your head up. We're praying for you every single day. We tell your story to everybody we talk to.
Literally,
so,
everything.
So stay strong, bro. But thank you for being on today.
Absolutely.
All right.
We love you, bro. We love you. Keep your head up in there.
Yeah, all right. We'll do.
All right, Ciarra, you want to...
All right, Alicia, you want to drop the social?
Oh,
you drop
it.
it.
Okay, thank you. So you can follow us on Facebook at Official Nameless Podcast, on Instagram, Nameless_podcast_. We are also on YouTube, and today's episode will be posted on our YouTube. That is Official Nameless Podcast on YouTube, I believe. So yeah, there you go. Anything else you want to say, Ciarra?
Nah, I mean, this was just a good episode. Like Biondi said, if you have someone that is incarcerated, put yourself in their shoes. You know how they might be feeling. Know that if you know them as a person, that they didn't do whatever they are being convicted of or accused of, support them as much as you can. Support them, even if it's just writing a letter, answering a phone call. Do something that you can to make sure that they're good in there, because it is hard in there, harder than it is out here for us. And I can tell you that firsthand. I work in a prison. I can tell you, they need the support that they can get, because one person can change their whole outlook on anything.
Yeah. So Biondi, we're about to get your address, so maybe you're gonna have some people send you some letters and stuff.
Yes, so we'll drop your address. We'll put everything. Y'all, write my boy a letter. Y'all, write my boy a letter.
All right.
All right. Well,
any last words for you, Alisia?
No, I second all of that, and I definitely want to have another conversation about this, and expand more on a little bit the criminal justice system again, and especially we're from Pennsylvania and you're in Texas, so there's a big difference between how things are handled from up here than down there. So definitely, next episode we're talking about that for sure.
Okay.
But that is it. All right. Well, this is
Biondi, you have a safe night.
Wait, no, go ahead.
Biondi, have a safe night, bro.
All right, y'all too.
All right. Well, Alicia, take your phone out of here.
All right. Well, this is Alisia.
This is Ciarra.
And you're listening to the Nameless Podcast, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Peace out.
Hey, what's up? Be the Change Hotline. We're closed right now. Leave a message, and I'll get back to you soon.
Nameless? Hey, yo, is this Nameless Podcast? I heard y'all was being the change. Guess I missed y'all. I'll see y'all later.